All right, everybody. The first game here at the HBA, the Heroes Battle Arena, is going to start soon. We have Dragonshire as our first map in the best of 3 series between Roccat and virtus.pro. And virtus.pro has first pick, first ban. And these days, it's actually like pretty crazy because everybody is just basically saying like, well, all these combos, they're so imba, which usually means that it's pretty balanced. If everything's imba, it's balanced. Tyrande is being banned out. We've seen so many like bans and picks these days that just like focus around Tyrande and burst in general. Jaina, for example, together with the Sonya is also pretty mean. Sonya has been banned out several times against certain teams like Fnatic, just to give one example. I've been casting a lot of the North American tournaments lately as well, and it's kind of interesting to see that there's a big difference in how the meta works. It's actually like not that big now thinking about it, but it's like subtle changes when it comes to the drafting process and the priority that certain heroes have. And Roccat is going for an immediate Tyrael ban here. Now Tyrael with Sanctification is usually a hero that is oftentimes played to negate damage that is dished out by Jaina and or Sonya. Sometimes you see him with the Judgment. That usually happens when we have a Sylvanas in play so that you can go for Judgment plus Wailing Arrow and get a good snipe out of it. But virtus.pro decides to go into a Kel'Thas first, so they ignore Jaina here, and that allows Roccat to take a Jaina plus Sonya if they really wanted to. Even without a Tyrande, that's pretty scary. They decide to go Sonya, but they also prioritize the ETC over Jaina right now, which I think is extremely interesting because virtus.pro... Holy cow! Thank God that isn't loud.
Good evening from Slovakia.
Yeah, good evening to you too. I guess that killed your boxes. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very sorry, guys. I'm going to reduce that sound a little bit. But yeah, thanks for the support, brother. And yeah, greetings to Slovakia. Hope you're having a nice evening here. I apologize to all the headset users. I myself got a bit scared there. But yeah, Rough Baby, big shout out to you. And of course, let me know about the chibi in the Twitch chat. But at the same time here, ETC has been chosen. I just was about to talk about how interesting that is because now Jaina can be banned out. virtus.pro is most likely not going to take her, and they don't. They take Muradin and they take Tacita here. Great heroes for them, but they can ban out Jaina. And it's just so interesting that Roccat just basically says, Jaina? Who's Jaina? We don't need Jaina. We don't need Jaina. We don't want Jaina. So they will rely on a completely different composition. And I'm wondering who's going to be their range damage dealer. Because let's face it, they need someone from the distance that does the damage. You can't go full melee, especially against the Kel'Thas. Kel'Thas is going to be kept alive by Tacita. virtus.pro could go into a Tacita solo. That would definitely work out for them. We have seen that several times. But Tacita is one of these cool heroes that can actually like go solo and can also like go straight into a position where you have him comboed with another healer. So there's a few things. We have Tyrande right now in a spot where she's banned out, and she could be joined by Jaina. I would ban Jaina. I'm completely honest here with you. Jaina and Uther are the two bans that I would look at right now, and I personally would decide to go into a ban on Jaina, but they ban Uther. Alright, so virtus.pro, they feel like the Divine Shield is too scary, and they would rather deal with Jaina and the damage than with Uther. Not 100% certain if I agree on that, but there are a lot of points that speak for banning out Uther. Divine Shield is one of them, so it's definitely one of the things that you can do here right now. But at this point, let's see how Roccat is going to deal with this. So far they ignored Jaina, but I'm pretty sure that now that they are still given the chance, they will probably try to take those. So let's see how they're going to play this. For virtus.pro, I mean, they have a couple of options of what they can add then later on. Another tank would be nice. They can go for an additional support, additional damage dealers. It depends just on how aggressive they really want to be. And, I mean, let's face it, it's virtus.pro. They're going to go all out, aren't they? Another hero that is going to play a huge role here, or could potentially, is a Falstad, by the way, like just in general. I'm not quite certain if it's going to be for Roccat, but I think virtus.pro is most likely going to think about it. He's very mobile on the map. It's also one of the reasons why Brightwing, for example, is oftentimes chosen here as well. So that's another thing that they can take. There's the Reyna, as already predicted earlier, with a Leoric, so they go triple tank here. And that Leoric will allow them to get into the backline with a Wraith Walk. But now, virtus.pro, they could go Falstad, very mobile on the map. Also a giant killer hero that can really put a lot of pressure after level 13 onto Sonya, ETC, and Leoric. I personally think that they should either go Falstad, or if they do not like to go Falstad for whatever reason, drop a Sonya into the mix. A Vala into the mix right now. These are, I feel, their best options to really make something happen with the setup that they have. since they are going up against 3 warriors already, and they need to do something about that. They can go Falstad. They could even add a Brightwing if they want to have additional heals, but they choose to go Malfurion. Now, I feel like Malfurion is very interesting here. I love personally to have a very mobile setup on the map with a Brightwing and a Falstad. You have the heals that you really need for something like this. You can use the Polymorph as well. Malfurion then again can lock the targets down, which is pretty cool. And once again, in theory, you could even think about going Twilight Dream in such a setup. I don't think it's going to happen. The chances of it happening are slim to none. But if there is a setup where you use it, this might be one of the few where you can actually get quite some value out of it if you find yourself in the middle of all of these melee warriors, and then you just like simply drop a silence and the rest of your team is destroying them. But, of course, tranquility is tranquility, so the chances that they are passing up on that are very, 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 very slim. It's not going to happen. But we can theorize a little bit. virtus.pro with the last pick. Either an additional frontline or some damage. A melee assassin would actually not be too bad. With the melee assassin, I would have loved a different healer though. But Malfurion can still give those heals out. Sonya is taken. You're not going to really jump into an Illidan with this setup, I suppose. I guess you could. I mean, back in the days, Gamers 2 or G2 Esport. What? The time pool is at 0. I think that bugged out. There's a charism. I don't really think we're going to see Murky. I know, BlizzCon and everything. I still don't think that we're going to see Murky here. Because the time pool was at 0. I would love him, don't get me wrong. Maybe they play him, but the time pool was already at 0, so I feel there's a high chance that they actually just like ran out of time. Alright, so let's just see what they're going to pick. But I think this is really interesting. This is kind of funny. I'm really curious if I'm going to join that lobby now and they are saying like, oh yeah, that Murky was actually legit, we really wanted it. But they were at 0 seconds. So I think there's a pretty good chance that they didn't really want the hero. No lobby up. I actually thought the BKB might be the one to jump in here. But that's not the case. No lobby for him yet. But yeah, there's already... Okay, Falstad is the last pick. Okay, as we already thought, it's not Murky. It would have been fun. I admit it would have been a lot of fun, but it is not Murky. We are going to see a Falstad. And that, of course, caters to exactly what I've been saying earlier. You want to have one of these giant killer heroes here, and they just ran out of time, but they wanted to pick the Falstad, so that's exactly what's going to happen right now. Once that the lobby is hosted, and that is actually the case now as we speak. So yeah, I kinda like this. This is going to be good. The Falstad is a nice addition to the team. It's something that they definitely needed. They needed a direct damage dealer that can put some pressure onto the melee warriors and can also like make sure that they have the additional like giant killer damage then after level 13. And that's what they're going to use here. The last pick then was a Charism on the side of Roccat, and that of course makes sense. I mean, Charism's heals depend a lot on where exactly you are in those fights, and the warriors are going to be all around him. So that's already good. We have most of the players in the lobby by now. Dragonshire is our first map, as already mentioned. And yeah, this should be a pretty solid match here. It's also the first match, of course, only in our best of 3 here at the Heroes Battle Arena, powered by Twitch and by G2A, 2 sponsors here. And it's only the first best of 3 of the day. We're going to have another best of 3 then later on, which is also going to be pretty exciting to see what's going to happen there. Because League is... I mean, we had a lot of matches already. We had like, I think 4 or 5 matches already in just like a couple of days. And we are really moving forward with this. So we have the rest of the players already in. Apparently I'm playing now for virtus.pro. No, I'm playing for Roccat actually. Alright. No, wait, this is like the weirdest team that I've ever seen. Apparently BKB and myself joined Roccat now. And yeah, we're playing there. But Red X and Grandpa Kette... yeah, alright, Soccer has to do some shifting around. Because that didn't work at all. Okay, so now we're in for the ops. We have Roccat ready, and as soon as we are seeing a Power of Dream coming back, one of the tank players for virtus.pro, we are ready and good to go. But yeah. So let's check that out. And we have... we see them getting ready here. It would have been a fun match, to be honest with you. It would have been a really fun match. Just like think about the mixed match with those players that we just had there. That would have been kind of interesting. But yeah, as I already said, it's not really going to happen. So we're going to wait for the game to start and then we're good to go. But right now, nobody... Okay, we're running up. How many do we have? And yeah, 9 out of 10. Let me guess who's not ready. It's actually Grandpa. It's the former Team Liquid player that is now playing with Roccat that is not ready yet, so I assume that he's going to jump in any second right now. But yeah, it's interesting setups that we have. After Prague, a lot of the teams disbanded, a lot of teams like shifted their roster a bit. We have a lot of free agents on the market now, and therefore we have very, very interesting combos that emerge at this point. I mean, look at the new Fnatic lineup, the new Team Liquid lineup. Roccat, of course, lost a few players as well and is currently like trying to sort everything out. So there's a couple of really cool things happening, but it's kind of nice to just see all of that going through the scene now and how the teams are repositioning themselves and, of course, going to fight for those top spots. Either way, as is, we're going to jump into the game, so let's check that out. And we are live with game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. We have Roccat versus virtus.pro, and to the left side of our first map, Dragonshire, we see Soccer on ETC, Sportbilly on Leoric, Hazobs on Reyna, Grandpa on Karazim, and Redex on Sonya. The new Roccat lineup going up against virtus.pro with Sefkaje on Falset to the right side. We have Unstable on Malfurion, Andilendi on Kel'Thas, BKB on Muradin, and Power of Dream is playing Tacita, which is pretty interesting if you think about it. I mean, oftentimes he's playing the second tank. This time they're relying only on one tank, so he's the one to jump on the second supporter. And that is going to be quite cool. I mean, we have some... Oh, wow! Power the hate! The hate! And Power of Dream gets healed and survives. Unbelievable. Wow, I have no clue how he just survived that, but they were trying to block the minions and only Tacita moved forward. They did that in the past already. The whole idea behind this is to just simply move in, try to get the vision and get the storm in for a bit of extra damage against the opponent's minions, but that did not work out whatsoever. He didn't die though, so he survived. The rotation is happening and this might be a kill. Grandpa survives for now. Kel'Thas is down, and with a dash, Grandpa is saving himself right now. Really, really well done here. Great start for Roccat. They have 2 kills against 0. Falstad dying, Kel'Thas dying, Hazobs in the top lane against Power of Dream. Strong rotations already on the map. And all of that happening even though they disregarded Jaina, which is usually like the... Oh, what? Dude, Sefka, what are you doing? Sefka just flies right into them. But he survives, but is already on half HP. As I was about to say though, Jaina is usually like the epitome of a hero that is dedicated to burst others down. And that burst damage that we are talking about in most of these snipers compositions is highly relying on Jaina. In this case, they completely disregarded Jaina though. They didn't really care about her at all. And this is going to be quite interesting, because so far the setup is actually working for them. So right now, we have Redex and Soccer, Sportbilly, they're all just like roaming on the map. It's really just map presence, trying to get these shrines, trying to get in a decent position to really get the first Dragonite. Even with the level 4 talent, it's going to be a slight lead that we're seeing for Roccat. They have a Seasoned Marksman play on Reyna, so they're going into the stacking process. We're seeing on level 1 Moonburn taken from Malfurion for the extra damage against minions and mercenaries. And as Sefkaje is flying away from the shrine since he doesn't want to get taken down by the roaming here, we are currently seeing the Prog Rock taken on level 1. And yeah, with that talent, we have of course a bit of more sustain for them, and most likely then Groupies at level 13 to combo that off. Ah, look at that. Tacita actually did not go into Leeching Plasma on level 4, but instead decided to go into Mental Acuity for the cooldown reduction on his Oracle, so that he has a bit more vision on the map. Since you have to roam a lot between these lanes, that makes a lot of sense on a map like Dragonshire. So VP, with a bit of a shaky start, I want to say. Didn't lose too much just yet. I mean, you can see at the experience that they are slightly behind, but not too much yet. But still not the start that they were hoping for, I suppose. We have once again Rampant Growth taken on Flow Rider. There was the attempt of a lockdown in the mid lane. That didn't really work out for them, though. Double focus attack on the side of Team Roccat, and they have both of the shrines under their control right now and are attempting to go for the Dragonite. Power of Dream is being pushed back by Zoka, still drops the Storm to interrupt the channel, and we see the Gravity Labs against Sonya. And Sefkaje once again quite low. He was going in and making sure that they are, well, he could at least push some damage on the opponent's front line. But still, that is of course a really tricky play now for the Russians. I mean, Roccat seems to be the team that makes the moves at this point. We have them with a very, very strong composition here. But then again, in the later stages of the game, Kel'Thas is going to be able to do quite a lot about that. Of course, in the late game, Reyna is also going to shine, with this, which is the whole idea of them making this work. Level 13 is really when virtus.pro is going to hit a massive power spike against the setup that we're seeing for Roccat. Giant Killer is one of the main reasons on Falstad, but also the chain bombs on Kel'Thas are going to be able to do the job. So level 13, that's when Roccat has to be really careful about what they do on the map here. But for now, they are all good to go, and they are setting themselves up with a shrine at the bot lane. They have the level 7 talent now, and that is, of course, Ghastly Reach. Zefkaje moves away with a Flow Rider jump by BKB. Moves out of the situation here now, too, as we see Ferocious Healing coming in, the Echo of Heaven, and the Revolution Overdrive. The level 7 talents for virtus.pro gives them a bit more heal on especially Malfurion, who decided to go into the Enduring Growth on his Malfurion. We have also Fission Bombs, we are seeing the secret weapon, and pretty solid talents just overall that we have here for them right now. But as you can tell, it's Roccat still pushing the lanes. They are going in at the bot lane with 3 heroes. Even Sportbilly rotates over, putting this into a 4 versus 2, neglecting the mid lane for a second, but they get at least 1 tower out of that, and probably going to get more than that. Zefkaje is already moving away. He's going to have to fly in just a second again. But the rotation of virtus.pro is happening, and they forced Sportbilly back. But that allows also Hazobs to take the shrine at the top, and that is, of course, now the double shrine for them and the potential Dragonite. But Sportbilly is contested in the mid lane by Power of Dream. Flying down to the bot lane, but the kill against Kel'Thas is already happening. Zefkaje a bit too fine, has to barrel roll away. Didn't really take too much damage though, so he's still good to go here. But it's level 9 versus level 8, and Reyna is moving into the mid lane to grab the Dragonite, and he is going to get it. Hazobs is there, and he is going to start pushing in the mid lane now as well. Good positioning here, doesn't really matter too much. There's no ammunition on the upper tower, so it doesn't matter if he moves into the middle with this one. But 5 minutes in, he is starting to do some solid damage against these structures. So job very well done. And at the bot lane, we see a massive commitment now to this fort. The Dragonite is occupying virtus.pro in the mid lane, and down here at the bottom, it is a 4-man squad that is starting to take down the next structures. Level 10 any second now. We have any second the heroic abilities, and here they are, the Mosh Pit, Wrath of the Berserker. We see the March of the Black King, have the Hyperion in play. And, well, for Karazhan, it's most likely going to be Divine Palm. There's only one hero with a heavy hit point pool. I mean, that is Muradin, and you could think about going to the 7-sided strike, but I guess Divine Palm is what we are going to see from him, and it is indeed the Divine Palm. Still half a level to go for virtus.pro until they hit the level 10 now. They're going to try and check that out, but, well, there's the ball gone. Up at the top lane, we have 2 heroes moving in, but the commitment with the Hyperion at the bot lane, they're going straight for that keep, and they are going to get it. They're going to get the keep here. If they really focus on it, they will get it. They might lose a hero or 2, but this is the first keep of the game. 6 minutes and 45 seconds in. Malfurion and Kel'Thas were up at the top lane trying to counter push. They never really thought that Roccat would commit this much to the keep at the bot, and therefore their TP was way too late. virtus.pro seems to be like they are shaky. I mean, at this point, this doesn't really look too solid what they are showcasing. They have their 10s with Mighty Gust, even the Twilight Archon, well, the Archon at least taken as the rogue ability on the side of Tacita. But losing a keep 7 minutes into the game, that's a bit weird. That's really something where you have to be quite careful, because that sounded, well, yeah, I don't know. Something like this should happen. Malfurion and Kel'Thas should have moved back a bit faster than that, but I guess they just assumed that Roccat would move back and wouldn't really commit to the fort. But well, they did. Up to the top lane, unstable, pushing everything back, trying to just like make sure that this wave is not pushing in the top lane and destroying one of the towers or soaking ammunition. We already have the catapult spawning at the bot lane now, of course, and combined with the 2 camps that have just now been taken, and actually very well timed here for virtus.pro, we are seeing a massive push, and Grand Paquette is trying to protect that for even a bit longer. But Zefka has to take care of that, and that means that he won't be able to join the mid lane that is currently attempting to defend against the next push of Roccat, who are heading into level 13. They will hit that earlier talent, and that will give them a major advantage, of course, in the next fights. The talents themselves already like looking really strong. It's very well thought out combinations that they're using here. And on level 13, we already talked about this earlier, virtus.pro is going to hit a massive power spike, but if they're already this far behind, then power spike or no power spike, they are going to have to really step up their game to come back into this. They are one level behind. Could have been worse, to be honest with you. I mean, we have one keep eliminated, so it could be a lot worse than that. There's a lot of experience that Roccat was able to take just by eliminating structures. They're starting to lose the first ones now at the bot lane, where we have a 5-man commitment, and taking down 2 of the towers. Could go in and claim that well now too. It's a shrine for a shrine, and level 13 should hit in time for virtus.pro to really take one of these fights right now. They actually go for Sport Billy, but the rest of the Roccat is starting to move in. 13 isn't ready yet. Here comes the Mighty Gus pushing soccer back. ETC was a threat with the power slide and the mosh pit, but they just move away, go a bit for the zoning purpose, but at the same time you're already seeing Hazops in the mid lane waiting for another opportunity to take the Dragon Knight. He shouldn't be able to do that though. Up to the top lane, Sefkaje is claiming the shrine and is making sure that they won't be able to do that. But what about BKB? He's moving away, does not get taken down in the mid lane where he was attempting to just deny any kind of tribute channel. As you can see right now, we have the 13s, and that's Giant Killer, that's Chain Bombs. This is the time for virtus.pro to show their skills, to really fight. It's now or never for them. Malfurion with heroic ability, and the Phoenix comes into play too, as BKB is using his frontline prowess to force Hazops back. Red X gets the stun, the Divine Palm hits him and is triggered, but they still have him in a good spot, but he just moves away with a mystical spear talent on level 13. Now they jump in once again, and virtus.pro is looking so much better now. They could take Leoric down, they did, and now Zocke seems to be the next target. They go straight for him. It's time for the beef to go on a burger. He's down, and Red X is also on the run. Still the attempt to go for the Dragon Knight. Unstable with another quick Moonfire, is able to delay it just a bit, but no! He doesn't go in again because he feels he's a bit too weak in hit points and doesn't want to go up against Hazops. But right now we have another Dragon Knight for Roccat. Oh, virtus.pro. They should have really prevented this one. This should not have happened. They had 2 heroes down. They found themselves in a great spot, but they lose that Dragon Knight again. And this is just frustrating for them. So we have Kel'Thas up at the top lane. And I mean, the game is well, he was at the top lane a second ago. He beat back, so I'm not crazy, I promise. We have them in the spot where they can at least fight. I mean, they have like, and finally they have like a little bit of power, you know, like you can finally go into these battles, drop the chain bombs and say like, all right, we're going to take this now. But we have Roccat still with that Dragon Knight. And that also bought them a lot of time, and they start to take down structures again. They are in the leading experience. Yes, that gap has been closed by virtus.pro to a certain extent, but they have still a slight lead, and they are trying to get that level 16 talent a bit faster to use that time window to maybe get an easy kill here. But for now, BKB is going into Avatar form, and the kick against Malfurion. Unstable is with the team here again, though. Can he maybe lock them down? Sefkaje flies in, and the Mighty Gust to push Red X away. Hyperion is being used. Nice mosh pit attempt, but already cancelled out. Zocke does not get his ult through. Divine Palm saving Sonya. And again, the Tranquility on Unstable, healing everybody up. Sefkaje jumps in, tries to drop Leoric, and they might be able to get that kill. Oh my god, so close. That last bomb, but at least Sonya is eliminated, and they go straight for Zocke. Now they finally gain the momentum that they really want to have. They start to move in. Grand Paquette moves away, dashes out of the fight, and it's still virtus.pro who are trying to go for the structures here. We have level 16 for Roccat, level 15, close to 16 for their opponents. Leoric moved into the mid lane, starts to take down waves with the skeleton swing, and here to the left side at the bottom we have one of the mercenary camps attack. But the fort at the top lane has fallen. 16 talents now, the speed metal has been used, and we're seeing again the renewed swing for Leoric. Great wave clear now for him. And at the same time, we already have, well, we have them with, in this case, the Circle of Life and the Nerves of Steel. But just look at these 16 talents on the side of virtus.pro. We are talking here about the Tenacious Roots, which are just so annoying. He went also into Life Seed, so there's no ice block. He just basically said, listen boys, I am going to be safe either way. We have the Tenacious Roots, we can lock them down even more, especially after a murder and stun. But for now, we're going to be fine with this. I'm going to heal everybody out, and his healing numbers should be pretty crazy. Also a damage build on the side of Charism. Of course, I mean, he's playing here together, sorry, the damage build on the side of Tassadar. He's playing here together with the Malfurion, so why not go for the static charge on level 7 and also for the second strike? You want to have some utility from those shields during the fight, but you are still looking at damage. You look at Archon form and you're trying to get all of that in. Talking heals, 29,000 currently on the side of Malfurion. Not really quite on the level of what we're seeing here for Karazhan, but he's been able to keep the team alive during all of these fights regardless. Sefkaje, oh, yeah, well, Sport Billy, you're a bit alone down here. Wraith walks away, did not expect Falstad to be in that position. And at the same time, the top is also going to start and get pushed. So they're starting to move in here to claim the second one. Rotation down to the bot lane. Sefkaje needs to be careful. But here comes the second shrine. It's online already, and the rest of virtus.pro moves into the mid lane. They're trying to cap it. Down to the bot lane, the fight between Leoric and, well, Falstad. And guess who won that? Looks like it could be the Dragon Knight, but Zokke is there. He is eating a lot of damage, though. Oh, and he needs to move away. Nearly the root hitting him as well. And here's the first Dragon Knight for virtus.pro. As we said earlier, guys, I was mentioning at the start of the game, level 13 is when they are going to make their plays, and this is exactly what's happening right now. That level 13 is putting them into a great position, and this is exactly what, of course, they were banking their hopes on. So right now, they're playing an absolutely crazy good game, considering how this all started. I mean, we had Roccat with so much pressure. Leoric is actually dying again down here. But we have Falstad still moving in. That Dragon Knight is going full ham on the board right now. And they can still try and attempt to take maybe even... They could even try to take down one of these keeps at this point. They're already starting to move in. And it looks pretty good, to be honest with you. The level lead for them is also quite significant. They were behind nearly the entire time. By now, they are the ones who are actually ahead. They managed to get ahead in the game here with the kills, and they go in once more. Already here the move, and it looks Red X, Sport Billy, oh, rooted, and the Mighty Gust doesn't blow them away here, but it's still level 19 versus 18. BKB is about to like just jump. He should have his cooldown ready. No, he goes in avatar form. They're trying to fight here. They're going for the fight. Sport Billy is moving in the backline, but moves right into Sefkaje. Not really the best matchup for him. And BKB jumps the hedge, trying to get away there once again. Look at Sonya at the front, tanking so much damage. And Andy Landy with his chain bombs is there over and over again, making sure that they're just suffering and take damage. Oh, but can they claim the camp? Nah, they can't. They were trying though. But Leoric is about to die again. Sport Billy is down. Yeah, they still try to go for BKB. The heal, Grandpakette needs to be moving back, and he does in the last second. That was a close call though. The lockdown against Red X, but the Mystical Spear is allowing him to reposition himself and move out. 7 kills against 3 by now. virtus.pro is showing why this composition is so strong against the triple warrior lineup. Kel'Thas with the chain bombs, and then also, of course, Falstad with all that damage that he is able to dish out here. Great play, and they are going full out on this one. So we have right now Roccat moving in against, and Sport Billy is back to business. They're trying to fight before level 20 is hit. Power of 3 might actually fall here. He's super low. Can Malfurion keep him alive? There's a shield. Level 20 any second now. The Storm Talents will hit. BKB could jump, and he does. Needs to get out of there. They just try to retreat and wait until level 20 is finally ready. Of course, that keep at the bot lane was already taken out a long time ago, so that doesn't really matter even anymore. We have at this point both of those Siege Giants eliminated, and level 20 is going to be such a valuable tool for Team virtus.pro. They have their Storm Talents in just a second, and here it is. So right now, Falstad with the Epic Mount could have even gone into Nexus Frenzy. If you really want to get more damage out against these frontliners, then you can do that. But Epic Mount allows him to be so much more mobile on the map, and especially on Dragonshire. This is, of course, absolutely invaluable when you can just like fly from lane to lane within a second. We're seeing the Twilight Archon. That alone is going to give Tacita a massive damage boost. It's not as much as it was before the patch. Now Tacita lost about 20% of his damage, but he is still pretty solid in that regard. He's playing right now like this in between, this hybrid play, and it's actually quite well working out for them. One more level until we are seeing Roccat on their Storm Talents, and this is the timing window that virtus.pro is now trying to use to get the first keep, and they will claim this one without a problem whatsoever. Sok is the only threat with the Mosh Pit, but they always make sure that they get him. They have the stun with the Gravity Labs, they have the stun on Murden. They can also, of course, then use Falstad, who by now has the level 16 talent, which allows him the mini stun, and his Mighty Gust is another issue here. Sevkaja taking the one at the top lane, already trying to move over down to the bot lane. We have virtus.pro assembling their forces, trying to go for the second shrine, and they're starting to move in for this one. No level 20 yet for Roccat. The German team needs to be careful here. Sevkaja is now with them, and they're starting to move towards the Dragon Statue to claim the Dragonite. Keep the top lane in mind, though, where Bruiser Camp for Roccat is starting to take down the structures. But they will lose the Dragonite. They can't really fight for it. Now they have the 20s, but it's too late. And that 18-minute Dragonite is going to be so strong. It starts to move in. We have even now the Peaceful Repose taken for Grand Paquette on his Karazim. Reyna with the Season Marksman stacks went straight into Nexus Frenzy for even more damage, and with a double Hardened Shield, this is a pretty solid setup. Zokke was trying to go for a mosh pit here, apparently. He gets kicked away, didn't even trigger, was a bit too late. Oh, Red X is super low, but keeps himself alive with the March of the Black King. But this is not the end of the fight just yet. A great route that we're seeing, and Sonya is locked down and taken apart. Hyperion was doing so much work, but it was just not enough to win that fight yet. Tranquility saved most of them. It's already over. Mighty Gust used. Zokke all alone blinks away with the Ball of the Storm, but Grand Paquette eats the stun and saves himself with his heroic. Needs to dash away, and Hazorbs is helping him with that as we see the Dragonite move straight for the core. They are trying to finish this first game. It's game number 1 here, and another kill against ETC right now. Great play here by virtus.pro, suffering in the early game against the strong setup for Roccat, but once they hit level 13, they were able to make it work. They are getting low though, so they have to be careful here. They took 2 of the heroes down already, but they can't go for core. 95%. They could have tried to pursue this even more, but they decided to just move back. They were all low in mana and or health, and decided to play this better safe than sorry. So they go for the map objectives. They go for the mercenaries. They could not use their Dragonite to finish the game, but still, this is a very solid performance by them. Once again, to give you a bit of an idea of the damage that was dished out here so far, we have Kalthas at 67,000. He is the number 1 damage dealer in this game, followed by Falstad on 62,000. And only 3 kills against virtus.pro. They were able to take down 9 heroes, but they didn't lose too many. And once again, we have everybody starting to move in here. So Hazorbs, Red X, and Grand Paquette, they are attempting to maybe even stay... they're not stealing the camp away, they're not attempting to. They already died 5 times. Well, of course, for him it's always easy to come back into the game here. But here comes Andy Landy, moves in again, and they are attempting to steal the last camp on the map. It's all this waiting for the next, for the next shrines to appear. There's a keep for a keep, and even though we had in the last few minutes virtus.pro doing just a really great job taking down these structures, taking down also their opponent's heroes, this game isn't over yet. They couldn't finish it. They could not finish the game. And at this point, Roccat still has a fighting chance. If they just get one good team fight where ETC gets a mosh pit through, that's all that they need to do. So for now, we have camps taken everywhere. Like every single camp that spawns on the map is immediately being approached by a few heroes, and they start to take those. Another Bruiser camp claimed. 1 shrine versus a shrine. Sport Billy is already waiting up at the top lane, whereas we have Malfurion waiting at the bottom. Already the defense against the double camp that virtus.pro has been able to take, and that is of course something that forces a lot of heroes down to the bot lane. And, well, virtus.pro is very well aware of that. They send Sevkaja to the top, where Sport Billy is waiting for him. But the rest of the team is starting to rotate over now too. These death timers, even for a hero like Leoric, are pretty solid. So if he dies, that would be a disaster. There's the first stun, the second one. He could try and move away, but there is just absolutely no chance for him to actually survive this. He used whatever he had, but Leoric is obviously going to fall. Kill number 6 against Leoric, and he is down for another minute. He will cheat death to a certain extent, but this is still a very, very dire situation for Roccat. If they lose another Dragonite on the map, then this game is over. The next Dragonite is very likely to decide the game, since we had already 1 keep taken down by Roccat as well. The bot lane of virtus.pro doesn't have the remaining structure anymore, and oh my god, the Divine Palm on Reyna. The mosh pit is hitting, and down goes Falstad. That might be exactly what they needed. Roccat, can they come back into this? They have lost 2 heroes, but Leoric is going to be back in 5 seconds. Oh god, Sonya so low, Whirlwind's away, and the blink on Zokke is getting him to safety, but Sonya is down, and this is another 4 versus 3 situation for virtus.pro, and they don't even go for the Dragonite. They say, okay, screw this, we go for core, and we go for core right now. I actually think that they could have attempted to go for the Dragon Knight, but I assume that this is going to work out for them quite well. Sport Billy is there though, but the core is dropping in the hit points. They're starting to move in. Heroic abilities are all in cooldown except for the Mighty Gus, but Falstad is down. Andy Lendi with the Arcane Barrier here, and the core down to 30%. This is going to be game GG. Well played as virtus.pro takes game number 1 in the best of 3 series here at the Heroes Battle Arena. Well done, well done.